The moment Amira Cole stepped into the conference room, silence followed. 20 heads turned toward her, and the small, wheezing boy in her arms. Noah's breath came in shallow bursts. His inhaler had already been used once in the car. She held him close, clutching both the project folder and her dignity like armor. Madeline Shaw stood at the head of the table in a fitted navy suit, her icy smile never reaching her eyes. "What is that kid doing here, Miss Cole?" Her voice sliced through the tension like glass. "It's Noah, my son," Amira answered, steady but soft. His asthma flared up at 4 a.m. The sitter canceled. "I didn't want to miss the Miller pitch." This is an office," Madeline snapped, "not a daycare." Gasps were swallowed. Chairs didn't creak. Even Robert, whom Amira once covered for when his miscalculation nearly lost the company $200,000, stared at his tablet like it held the answers. Madeline didn't pause. "You're fired. Effective immediately." Then, louder, for the whole room. "Let this be an example. Professionalism first. No exceptions." Amira didn't cry. She adjusted Noah gently and turned toward the door, her back straight, her pace unshaken. But something behind her eyes shifted, something sharp and calculating. Nobody noticed Madeline discreetly pressing record on her phone, and Madeline would soon regret that. 6 years. That's how long Amira Cole had given to Cole and Langston. Weekends blurred into weekdays. Vacations were dreams she never cashed in. She had worked through holidays, skipped Noah's last 3 birthdays, and once attended a Zoom meeting from a hospital bathroom while her son lay in a pediatric ICU bed just down the hall. N01 applauded her dedication. No awards. Not even a nod. She learned early on that showing weakness wasn't allowed, especially not for a black single mother in a firm where executive loyalty was reserved for legacy hires and golf buddies. Still, she stayed late. Delivered flawless decks. Cleaned up colleagues' messes while they took credit and long lunches. When Robert misfiled the Miller acquisition metrics, it was Amira who stayed past midnight, rebuilding the data set line by line. No one noticed. He got a bonus. Her own performance review was pushed back twice. Rent was $1,600 a month. Noah's prescriptions cost $300. Insurance covered part, until it didn't. Amira learned to budget down to the last dollar, juggling spreadsheets by day and grocery coupons by night. She didn't complain. But holding Noah in that conference room, feeling the tremble in his chest as he struggled to breathe, something in her cracked. Not loudly, not visibly, but like a quiet fissure running beneath glass. The inhaler was warm in her palm, used already twice since dawn. She whispered to him at the elevator, "Breathe with mommy, in out," her voice steady, her hand trembling. She could still hear Madeline's voice, clinical, cold, final. "This is an office, not a daycare." What no one saw was what came before. The night before, Noah had coughed until 3 a.m. She had rushed him to urgent care. The doctor's face was calm, but the prescription wasn't. $230 without insurance. She stared at the pharmacy receipt that morning, debating whether to buy the medicine or save the money for groceries. In the end, she bought it and brought Noah with her. Amira knew what the rules said. She also knew she had run out of choices. Being a single mother meant choosing between impossible options every single day. And still, no one at that conference table spoke up. Jennifer from HR looked down at her keyboard. Marcus from strategy pretended to check his calendar. They had all seen Amira carry this company on her back. But silence was safer. Amira didn't blame them. She understood fear, but she also remembered something her grandmother once told her. The world doesn't hate strong black women, baby. It just fears what we do when we stop being silent. That thought stayed with her as she walked past reception, Noah asleep on her shoulder. She didn't feel broken. Not yet. She felt still, calm, dangerous, even, because behind every calm woman with nothing left to lose is a plan already forming. 2 hours after Amira walked out of Cole and Langston, the video hit LinkedIn. There she was, clutching her sick child, eyes calm but proud, as Madeline Shaw's voice thundered over her. "This is not a daycare. You're fired. Effective immediately." The caption under the video was worse than the footage itself. "Leadership means making hard calls. We hold the line on standards, no matter the situation. Hashtag professional excellence, hashtag tough decisions." By the time Amira saw it, the post had racked Up over 500 likes and dozens of comments from corporate types clapping like trained seals. Bravo, Madeline. That's how you lead. Finally, someone holding workers accountable. Children don't belong at work, period. She read every name, every job title, every company. Not a single one asked why the child was there, or why the mother looked like she had not slept in days. Amira closed the app, her jaw locked in. Steel. Then she heard Noah cough. A dry, gasping sound from the couch where he lay curled under his worn Spider-Man blanket. She reached for the inhaler, shook it, almost empty. She called the pharmacy. Your insurance was terminated this morning, the voice said flatly. Your employer marked you as dismissed for cause. The replacement inhaler cost $230. Amira opened her banking app balance. $314.27. Rent was $1,575. Due in 6 days. Groceries already thin. She sat at the kitchen table, staring at her laptop like it owed her an explanation. Instead, it reminded her of what she already knew. She had no one to call. No fallback. No second income. Only one memory came to mind. She was 16. Her mother had just lost her job after exposing illegal deductions from their paychecks at the diner. They were behind on rent. Her mother had sat at the same kind of kitchen table, flipping through lease agreements and scribbled notes. The rich always leave a trail, she had whispered, half to herself. They think they're untouchable, but they always leave something behind. Amira remembered that moment not with fear, but with precision. She got up, pulled her old college laptop from the closet, and opened a new folder. She named it in bold caps, Project Shaw. Inside, she dropped the LinkedIn screenshots, the cruel comments, a spreadsheet with the names of every person who praised Madeline's post. Her notes on Madeline's history, how she inherited her role from her uncle, how she had fired 2 mothers last year under suspicious conditions, how no minority woman had made it past mid-level management since Madeline took over. Asterisk, each file was a thread. Amira was going to pull them all. She didn't cry, didn't panic. She just kept working, because now she had nothing to lose and 100 receipts to collect. Amira waited until Noah was asleep. His breathing, though steadier, still wheezed with every exhale. She pulled a blanket over him, kissed his forehead, and walked back to the dining table. Her laptop blinked, waiting. She opened the folder marked Project Shaw and typed one name at the top of a new document. Julian Harris, an old classmate from her undergrad days. Now a licensed private investigator who specialized in corporate misconduct. The last time they spoke, he had helped a nonprofit uncover financial fraud. And more importantly, he owed her. 10 minutes later, he picked up. Amira? His voice cracked from sleep. It's been years. I need a favor, she said calmly. One involving NDAs, corporate cover-ups, and a woman who thinks power makes her untouchable. Julian didn't hesitate. Send me everything you've got. I'll start tonight. The plan had begun. The next morning, Amira messaged Leah Tran, a former colleague who vanished quietly 6 months ago after requesting leave to care for her autistic son. Everyone whispered that she had been unstable, but Amira remembered the look on Leah's face the day she packed her things. It wasn't instability. It was silent rage. Leah, it's Amira, she wrote. Madeline Shaw fired me yesterday. You too, right? For being a mother. A ping, finally. Someone else who saw it. They met at a park bench near Leah's apartment. No suits, no makeup, just truth. Leah pulled out a manila envelope from her bag and handed it over. Inside were emails, screenshots, recordings, Madeline mocking Leah's parenting skills during performance reviews. HR reports altered without explanation. A denied promotion filed 1 day before her leave request. You kept everything, Amira whispered. I knew I'd need it one day, Leah replied. She makes sure you leave quietly. But I wasn't going to let her make me disappear. That night, Amira created a WhatsApp group and named it Project Justice. First, she added Leah. Then 2 others she remembered. Isabel from finance, pushed out after reporting harassment. Tanisha, let go after asking for disability accommodation for her son. Each woman brought a piece of the puzzle. Within hours, the chat filled with receipts and signed exit forms, private Slack conversations, altered performance reviews, and cruel comments Madeline made during company parties, most of which were accidentally recorded. Julian messaged just after midnight. Amira, you won't believe this. I got into some internal budget reports. Madeline's been funneling money from the employee training fund to finance her networking retreats. Flights, spa packages, five-star hotels, all billed under made-up workshops. He attached copies of falsified invoices, receipts dated during weekends. A $7,200 charge at a Bali resort categorized as staff development. She's not just discriminatory, he wrote. She's stealing from the company. And she's sloppy. Amira stared at the documents and felt her spine straighten. The story had changed. This wasn't just a personal injustice anymore. It was systemic corruption. A pattern. A house of cards built on arrogance. And they were holding the wind. For the first time since losing her job, Amira felt something steady ignite in her chest. Not anger. Not even revenge. Strategy. Madeline Shaw always believed she was untouchable. She strutted through Cole and Langston's halls like she owned the air itself. Her power was precise, practiced, cruel, and she had never once miscalculated. Until the morning she fired Emily Reeves. It started the same as it had with Amira and with so many others before her. Emily had shown up late. Her eyes red, her blouse slightly wrinkled. Her child had been sick the night before. She had called ahead, cleared it with her team, but that did not matter to Madeline. She fired her publicly, in the middle of the office kitchen, in front of 3 interns and a manager from HR, cold, efficient, smiling as always. What Madeline did not know was that Emily was Senator William Reeves's daughter, and her father's next campaign, built entirely on the promise of protecting working families and single mothers in the workplace. That same night, Emily's phone lit up with messages, calls from campaign advisors, journalists, her inbox filled with reporters requesting statements. But she said nothing, not yet. Instead, she requested a meeting with a woman she had only heard about through whispers on LinkedIn and quiet DM chains, Amira Bennett. They met at a quiet cafe on the edge of the city. Emily wore black, her hair pulled back, eyes fierce with restrained fury. Amira arrived with a brown envelope clutched in one hand and her laptop bag in the other. I heard what she did. To you. Emily began, no preamble. And I want to bury her. Amira didn't blink. She opened her laptop and clicked into the folder titled Project Shaw. One by one, she laid it out. Screenshots of WhatsApp messages between senior executives, emails from HR with altered timestamps, videos of dismissals, hers, Leah's, Isabel's, and finally, Julian's discovery, financial records showing embezzlement, luxury retreats disguised as executive workshops, company credit card statements with $1,000 charges to private resorts and spas. Emily leaned forward slowly. She built an entire empire on cruelty. Amira said, her voice low. She didn't just fire us, she erased us. And then, she bragged about it online. Emily stared at the screen, then leaned back, her face unreadable. Do you know what happens when someone like her humiliates someone like me on camera? Amira tilted her head. Tell me. They get exposed on national television. Emily Reeves was no ordinary employee. Her godmother was executive producer. At Truth Uncovered, a primetime investigative program with a viewership in the millions. I already spoke to her. Emily continued. She's in. They're devoting a full segment to corporate discrimination, and Madeline Shaw will be the face of it. Amira's breath caught. For weeks, she had been building a case, gathering stories, creating a mosaic of quiet suffering. But now, it would not stay quiet. That IT would explode. We need to move carefully, Emily said, her tone shifting. We need documentation, signed statements, screen recordings. Everything needs to be airtight. Amira smiled. Already done. That night, Project Justice expanded. Emily joined the WhatsApp group, dropping a digital bombshell. A leaked internal memo Madeline had sent the week prior, bragging about her streamlining strategy and her vision to eliminate emotional volatility in the workforce. A dog whistle to anyone who had ever been punished for being a parent or a woman of color. By midnight, every woman in the group had contributed something new. A pattern sharpened into evidence. A story sharpened into strategy. And at the center of it all stood Amira. No longer humiliated, no longer isolated. She was ready. They all were. When the episode aired, the city stopped. Truth Uncovered led with the footage, a 6-year-old boy clinging to his mother's blouse while a white executive barked, "This is an office, not a daycare." The headline, Corporate Cruelty, the Madeline Shaw Files. It wasn't just a segment. It was a televised takedown, meticulously orchestrated, backed by evidence that spanned 6 years, 15 terminations, and hundreds of cruel, deliberate choices. The camera panned over secret audio clips, Madeline mocking a disabled employee, laughed off accusations of cultural incompatibility. Then came the videos. Amira's firing, Leah's tears, Isabel being escorted out with 2 cardboard boxes and a red face. The host's voice cut through the silence like a blade. This is not isolated. This is not coincidence. This is a pattern. A culture cultivated by one woman, Madeline Shaw, and protected by silence. They revealed the Project Shaw folder live on screen. Screenshots of WhatsApp messages. She's a single mom. Classic. Liability. Get rid of her before she uses FMLA again. Cultural fit is important. Then came the financial records. Julian's work. $120,000 in training expenses spent on 5-star resorts, private spas, and a corporate summit that took place on a yacht with no employees invited. The breaking point? A grainy phone recording of Madeline herself, laughing over wine at a rooftop lounge. They cry, they beg, and then they vanish. It's like cleaning house without lifting a broom. The broadcast lasted 45 minutes, but its consequences stretched into eternity. Within hours, 15 former employees filed simultaneous lawsuits: wrongful termination, racial discrimination, harassment, and invasion of privacy. Senator Reeves issued a formal statement backing his daughter Emily, calling the case an urgent example of why corporate power must be held accountable. By noon, hashtags were trending worldwide. Hashtag Shawfiles, hashtag Smart Justice, hashtag In Corporate Abuse, and back at Cole and Langston Consulting, the dominoes began to fall. Madeline was in the middle of a leadership meeting, pitching a rebranding campaign to one of their top tech clients, when her assistant stormed in, white as paper. "Madeline, you need to see this." The conference room TV was already on. Her own face stared back. The words "predator in a power suit" flashed beneath her name. Silence. Clients stared. One quietly packed his briefcase. Another whispered something to the HR director. Madeline fumbled for her phone. Voicemail from Legal Point, 12 missed calls from her father, also a minority stakeholder in the firm, and one cold text from the board. Emergency meeting. 3 p.m. Attendance. Mandatory. But it was too late. 15 minutes later, the entire firm watched in stunned silence as Madeline Shaw was escorted out of the glass tower she once ruled. Her badge was deactivated. Her company issued Tesla repossessed. Security did not let her speak. Someone, no one knew who, live-streamed the moment. IT exploded online. Within a day, for major clients canceled contracts with Cole and Langston. By week's end, the firm was under federal investigation for discriminatory practices and misappropriation of employee benefit funds. Behind every crash of an empire, there is a quiet hand that began the tremor. That hand belonged to Amira Bennett. And the tremor she triggered? It was turning into a nationwide earthquake. 6 months later, the skyline had changed. From the 23rd floor of Stonebridge Solutions, Amira Bennett looked out over the city, not with vengeance, but with clarity. The building across the street, once housing Cole and Langston, was now dark. A "For Lease" sign hung crooked in the window, flapping weakly in the wind like the last gasp of a failed empire. Inside her sunlit corner office, Noah was curled on a couch, crayons in hand, sketching. A superhero in a navy blue pantsuit holding a glowing briefcase. "Is that me?" Amira asked, smiling. "No," Noah grinned. "It's better. She saves people with her brain." Stonebridge's board had approached her just 2 weeks after the expose aired. They were looking for a new kind of leader, strategic, ethical, unshakable. The choice had been unanimous. Across her desk sat a framed copy of the newly passed Amira Cole Act, federal legislation mandating anti-discrimination protections for working mothers and whistleblowers. Its nickname? Smart Justice in Heels. The plaque below read, "In honor of the woman who proved that the best leaders don't climb by stepping on others. They rise by lifting what was broken." That afternoon, Amira took the stage at the nation's largest women's leadership summit. 2,000 executives stood and clapped as she approached the podium. She took a breath, looked down at her note card, and then put it aside. "The best revenge," she said, her voice steady, "is not cruelty. It's relevance. It's building something so strong, so undeniable, that those who tried to silence you fade into the background, not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them." Backstage, someone whispered that Madeline Shaw had been spotted last week, applying for an admin job at a local clinic. She left before finishing the form. Amira did not react. She had already turned the page.